Hi everybody, Living Life with Donna here. Today I am attempting to make cinnamon rolls. Now I've already got this started, and let me tell you how hard this is. I got the recipe from Rayma Griffin's cookbook. She's on YouTube, and we have a friend that her husband is passing away, so I was going to make this and give them some too. So I'm just mixing. Well, let me tell you what I did first of all. Because she said after you stir this the best you can, you have to let it sit for about 15 or 20 minutes. And it's kind of messy, so I pre-started it. So I'm gonna let that set, she said, for 15 or 20 minutes. And you know what? It kind of smells like beer. I guess it's the yeast. Let me see what she did here. I gotta wash my hands off. Got it all over. I'm gonna kind of work it in there a little bit. I don't have any fancy pots. Like people have these professional bowls. I don't have that. So I'm just using this. This actually was my grandma's pot. That's what I'm using. And I'm just gonna kind of, get it kind of kneaded in there. I want to make sure it's all kneaded. And you can see it's kind of got it mixed in there the best I can. And I'm gonna let that set. She said let it set for about 15 or 20 minutes. So, oops. All right, let me go wash my hands off. And I'll tell you. Okay, so I got the hands all washed off. Okay, so now the other day, I'm just gonna cover that a little bit. Now the last video, I took this down a little bit. The last video you saw me doing the spray painting project, so, pardon me. It's hard to get that thing fixed right. Anyway, here's the finished product. The spray paint is totally dry, and I went in there with a nail clipper, just the part, and I just kind of got in the corners and got just a little bit of the spray paint that was on there. I put a battery in, but the light right now doesn't work, but I have 2 more to do. So it's kind of painstaking to go through there, and then I just took the Windex, and this lid comes off. So I got inside there, and when I was doing the second one, which I am not done with yet, I looked down and there was a big black spider crawling on my foot. So I guess it must have come from there. But anyway, about the recipe. So I tried to half it because I don't know if I needed that many, but being that her husband is, they're gonna be in bereavement. So it calls for 10 cups of all-purpose flour, which I did. I did 1 tablespoon, right? 1 tablespoon. And I used, you could salt, but I used the Himalayan pink salt. Of course, you can use regular salt if you want to. Of course, you have to have your yeast. It calls for 1 cup of sugar. Now, I use the organic sugar. You can use regular, and I'm sure you can use Splendid if you wanted to, too. What else? 1 cup of oil, which I had pure vegetable oil, Crisco pure vegetable oil. So we got that. You pour that in there. What else? Oh, of course, the yeast. I put it back in the freezer. And I used a dried yeast. We kept in the freezer because it'll keep it fresher. Now, if you just had a packet of yeast, you could do that. It calls for 3 tablespoons of yeast. Put that in the measuring cup. I put that in the measuring cup with 1 cup of warm water. Stirred it up. And 1 cup of the organic sugar, or was it a half a cup? Might have been a half a cup. Went and did some things, and then let it bubble up over. poured it in here with the flour, 1 cup of sugar, and the salt, and I kind of mixed it up. Then I mixed all that in there, and once you put the yeast in, then it's going to call for 3 more cups of warm water, that's what I was doing when I come on here, get it all stirred up and let it set. She said for about 15-20 minutes, so until it rises. Now she put raisins in hers, but I don't have raisins, so I'm going to use ground cinnamon, butter, brown sugar, and I think she used a little bit of more salt and a little bit more oil. So I've got to let that rise. And I believe the oven is preheating on 375. So those are the few steps I'm doing. So I know Molly's over there trying to bite her chain, and it's like hot and cold today, hot and cold, hot and cold, raining, then cold, then drizzling, then sun's coming out. So, hey everybody, living life with Donna here. Today I am attempting to make cinnamon rolls. Now I've already got this started, and let me tell you how hard this is. I got the recipe from Raymond Griffin's cookbook. She's on YouTube, and we have a friend that her husband is passing away, so I was going to make this and give them some too. So I'm just mixing. Well, let me tell you what I did first of all, because she said after you stir this the best you can, you have to let it sit for about 15 or 20 minutes, and it's kind of messy, so I pre-started it. So I'm going to let that set, she said, for 15 or 20 minutes. And you know what? It kind of smells like beer. I guess it's the yeast. Let me see what she did here. I gotta wash my hands off. Got it all over. I'm gonna kind of work it in there a little bit. I don't have any fancy pots. Like people have these professional bowls. I don't have that. So I'm just using this. This actually was my grandma's pot. That's what I'm using. And I'm just kind of, get it kind of kneaded in there. I want to make sure it's all kneaded. And you can see it's kind of got it mixed in there best I can. And I'm going to let that set. She said let it set for about 15 or 20 minutes. So, oops. All right, let me go wash my hands off. And I'll tell you. Okay, so I got the hands all washed off. Okay, so now the other day, I'm just going to cover that a little bit. Now the last video, I took this down a little bit. The last video you saw me doing the spray painting project. So, pardon me. It's hard to get that thing fixed right. Anyway, here's the finished product. The spray paint is totally dry, and I went in there with a nail clipper, just the part, and I just kind of got in the corners and got just a little bit of the spray paint that was on there. I put a battery in, but the light right now doesn't work, but I have 2 more to do. So it's kind of painstaking to go through there, and then I just took the Windex, and this lid comes off. So I got inside there, and when I was doing the second one, which I am not done with yet, I looked down and there was a big black spider crawling on my foot. So I guess it must have come from there. But anyway, about the recipe. So I tried to half it because I don't know if I needed that many, but being that her husband is, they're gonna be in bereavement. So it calls for 10 cups of all-purpose flour, which I did. I did 1 tablespoon, right? 1 tablespoon And I used, you could salt, but I used the Himalayan pink salt. Of course, you can use regular salt if you want to. Of course, you have to have your yeast. It calls for 1 cup of sugar. Now, I use the organic sugar. You can use regular, and I'm sure you can use Splendid if you wanted to, too. What else? 1 cup of oil, which I had pure vegetable oil, Crisco pure vegetable oil, so we got that. You pour that in there. What else? Oh, of course, the yeast. I put it back in the freezer, and I used a dried yeast. We kept in the freezer because it'll keep it fresher. Now, if you just had a packet of yeast, you could do that. It calls for 3 tablespoons of yeast. Put that in the measuring cup. I put that in the measuring cup with 1 cup of warm water. Stirred it up, and 1 cup of the organic sugar. Or was it a half a cup? Might have been a half a cup. Went and did some things, and then let it bubble up over. Poured it in here with the flour, 1 cup of sugar, and the salt, and I kind of mixed it up. Then I mixed all that in there, and once you put the yeast in, then it's going to call for 3 more cups of warm water, that's what I was doing when I come on here, get it all stirred up and let it set. She said for about 15-20 minutes, so until it rises. Now, she put raisins in hers, but I only have raisins, so I'm going to use ground cinnamon, butter, brown sugar, and I think she used a little bit of more salt and a little bit more oil. So I've got to let that rise. And I believe the oven is preheating on 375. So those are the few steps I'm doing. So I know Molly's over there trying to bite her chain, and it's like hot and cold today, hot and cold, hot and cold, raining, then cold, then drizzling, then it's sun's coming out. So, I mean, this weather is just totally bipolar. And so when this rises and I get to the next step where I have to roll it out with my mom's new rolling pin that she got, because we've been trying to do bread for a while now, and then I'll show you that step so it's not so boring and you're sitting here just watching me blah, blah, blah. So as soon as that rises, give it about 10 more minutes, and then I'll come back and get to rolling. Okay, my bread has been rising for an hour, as you can see. It's a little sticky, so I put a little flour on there because it's kind of sticky, but don't worry about that. And I don't have one of those bread things, so I'm just going to use a knife, and I'm just going to cut it in half so I can get half the dough, because I don't know if we need, and I'm going to put it to the side. I'm going to put it back in that pan. It's very, very sticky. So I just got a little bit of the flour out and just dusted it with a little bit more flour. So that looks a little bit more like hers on the TV. If it is a little sticky, it's okay. And you can always use a little bit of oil too, because that feels a little bit more not as sticky, you know. And so I got my butter out because that's going to be for the pan. My oven has been on 375 already. Got my mom's she got a brand new rolling pin because we were going to start to try to make bread, and everybody really should know how to make bread rolls. My cousin Charlotte, let me tip this up a little so you can see me. My cousin Charlotte, she makes real good, what does she call them, yeast rolls. They're really, really good. So she already knows how to do all that. Okay, but anyway, we got the bread, and I'm just kneading it a little bit there, and it looks more like what her bread looked like. And I think I got it right now on a cutting board, a glass-like cutting board, and I put a little oil on there. But we do have plastic here on the table, and I think I'm going to put it there because when I go to roll it out, let me put a little bit of oil. It's going to be bigger than this cutting board. So I'm just going to, and the table is clean, just going to put a little bit of oil. You do hear water in the background because I'm defrosting my mother's steak she wants for dinner. Okay, just put the oil in there. Flour a little bit of the surface there so it don't stick. And I got some walnuts for the top of the cinnamon rolls. Now, of course, that's optional. Now, this is a double recipe because I couldn't figure out how to half it. So what I think I'll do with the other half of the bread is maybe make some rolls, with it. Or, now I know you can freeze the dough, but it takes a long time for the dough to defrost once you do that. So that looks more like dough bread. Put that lid back on there. And of course, Molly, she's over there. She heard her JoJo. And, so I'm gonna roll this out with the brand new rolling pin. A little bit of flour on there. Roll it out. My girlfriend sent me some pictures of Paws today. He's being fostered, and there's this little girl there that they watch, and she just loves them. I'm just gonna roll this out. Actually, this rolling pin's doing pretty good. And you want it kind of long, because you're going to roll it. Once you put everything inside of there, you're going to roll it, make it like a log. So I'm going to get it kind of thin there, like she does. You know what, I might have to move this over here, out of the way. I'm going to use this pan, and I'm going to butter it. See if I can really get this, because once you start rolling it, it's going to be really thick. So I'm going to get what I can here, just do the best I can. Hey, this is my first time ever making cinnamon bread. I've not made anything. Like I said, my cousin, she makes rolls, but I have not made anything. So this is my first time doing this. So, but hey, it's always the first time, right? I hope you've watched some of my videos and try to maybe grow some food. Okay, now that looks about right. Maybe a little bit more on the ends. And you can use this for pizza dough, scones. This is like an all bread recipe. Like I said, once I go to roll it up, I don't want it to be so thick that it, that it won't cook and that it'll be doughy in the middle, So. Okay, that looks about right. All right, I'm gonna tip this down a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. I hope you can see that, how I'm doing that. And then I'm gonna take some butter, some real butter, okay? And my hands are clean. And I'm just gonna kind of rub it. And that will also help the cinnamon stick. Okay, cinnamon stick to the dough. So just kind of get that all, try to get that all even in there. You can't go wrong with butter. Butter makes everything better. Just want to get that on there. Get that all in there. And I guess you could use margarine if you wanted to. I'm more of a real butter person. But I mean, I guess if you wanted to use margarine, you could. I mean, and I don't know if other butters will give it a different taste. Like, they have coconut, like oil kind of thing, or, different. If you didn't want to use butter, get that all smoothed out. it all on there. So right now it looks like I've got maybe about a half a stick of what I'm using. It seems like. Just kind of brushing it. And like I said, you don't have to do nuts. I know a lot of people are allergic to nuts. They have a lot of allergies, so of course you can always leave that. And I don't see why. I was looking in the cabinet. Maybe you could even use the almond flour if you didn't want to use all-purpose, regular all-purpose flour. Give that one more roll with the pin to see if I can roll that. Roll the butter. Make sure it's nice and. Okay, now I'm going to put the cinnamon. Love cinnamon. So we're going to do heavy on the cinnamon. And I know you can't see me, but the way this goofy computer is, I kind of want you to see what I'm doing. I wonder if the spotlight would help. I don't know. All right, so I got my cinnamon. This is just regular ground cinnamon. Put that in there. Heavy with the cinnamon. And of course, if you don't like heavy cinnamon, you don't have to put heavy cinnamon. You know what I mean? You're going to have to do it like to your kind of taste, what you like. Some people don't, and I'm going to also put brown sugar. Now that's optional. You don't have to do that. But cinnamon rolls, that's the whole point of a cinnamon roll, is it's supposed to be cinnamony. So get it all over there. I hope you can see. I know this, like I said, I'm hoping maybe with the stimulus check, maybe I can buy myself a nicer camera to do stuff. But like I said, I don't have professional stuff, and I don't have stuff that looks, that I can edit and that. And I'm going to use, this is just a light brown sugar. Okay, this isn't anything. And I'm just going to, and she, now the lady that I got the recipe from, Grandma Griffin on Facebook, now she put raisins in hers. I don't have any raisins. So, I mean, of course, that's optional. You don't have to, and I'm just going to lightly put the brown sugar. So you don't have to do that. That's just something she does. You can put chocolate chips if you want. You know what I mean? You got kids, you want to put the chocolate chips. Now, like I said, the nuts I'm going to put, and like I said, my oven has been on while I've been doing this, because you have to let the bread rise for an hour. And that whole time I had the oven on, so it's well preheated already. So just get all that mixed in there. A couple more knobs of butter. Like I said, we're Irish, we love butter. Like I said, if you want to leave the butter off, or if you have other options, vegan, and you don't want to use butter, use something else. I think they have plant-based butter, but anyway, so we're just going to do a little bit of that. Okay, now, this is where the trick's at. I am not professional with this thing. Okay, now I have to try to roll it. So let's see if I can roll this without. Try to roll like a donut here, or like a log. I was kind of scared, to. I was kind of scared to maybe do breads and stuff like that, but it really isn't that hard, and I think everybody should know how to make breads. It doesn't necessarily have to be cinnamon desserts, but at least bread. Okay, and it still feels a little sticky, it just feels a little sticky. I'll stick that there in the end. It seems like it's okay. Now, the lady I saw, she used a piece of get that together, a piece of, if I can get it out of my head, she used a piece of dental floss. Okay, but I'm just going to use this knife. Now I got the pan here. I might even have to use 2 pans. And I'm just going to put a little bit, as a matter of fact, I should get it out of the cabinet here. It's a little bit of the cooking spray. find it here. I know I had it in here in this cabinet because no matter how many times I don't know if this is going to change the taste of it, but this is just coconut spray, but I'm sure you can use any spray you want. I'm just going to let them spray that. And I mean, I love coconut, so, you know, I mean, if I had coconut, I might even have tried to put coconut in here, you know. So, ooh, it's a little bit, let me close that. So, it seems a little bit more fluffier than hers, just a little bit. So this is the end one. That's the end. Yeah, it's just, it almost, you know what it almost feels like? It almost feels like it's still rising. I don't know. But it's very, just a little bit more power, just a fraction. Just so it doesn't. Well, now that I know I can, hopefully these will come out. I think it's 20-25 minutes. I'll have to check back with you on how long that they're supposed to be in there. Okay, so there's the, I mean, you can see the cinnamon in there. And like I said, I might have to do 2 trays. And sometimes I really don't care how it turns out. I mean, you know, I mean, I don't mean it like that, but, you know, like as far as like, if it looks like something from the store, as long as it cooks up good and it tastes good, that's all that matters to me. You know what I mean? And you know what? I hope I got it tight enough. That's what I don't know. I don't know if I got it, wrapped it tight enough. I hope I did. I don't know. I hope I did. I know when you do cinnamon rolls, let me actually put it over here. When you do, you know, you have to make sure that it's really, as a matter of these ones right here, as a matter of fact, I'm going to kind of try to tuck it just a little bit more because they're going to expand in the oven. So I'm just kind of folding it over itself again, just kind of folding it in there. And we're still waiting on news from my friend's husband. So I don't know. We'll have to see how these turns out. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to use 2 trays. I'm going to give this one more turn in there. It seemed like the dough was almost too soft for me to really make it tight. Hers looked a little different. I don't know, but we'll see. I'm gonna kind of put them close together. I don't know. It might just turn out to be one big blob of cinnamon rolls. But we'll see here. And then I got to get cooking her steak. And I don't know if it's a good thing that I know how to do this, you know, because I love bread, so I'm already like 5,000 pounds. So I don't know if it's a good idea that I learn how to do this. Okay, they're awful big. I don't know. Hopefully they'll cook and they won't be doughy. That's what I'm kind of afraid of. I'm afraid that maybe they're not going to cook all the way through and be too like doughy. But we'll see. I guess I could have cut them a little smaller. And the other one, the other bread there, I mean, she made a double batch because she had company coming over. So if these don't turn out, then the other half of the dough that I have, I think I'll just make rolls or something. Here's a little baby one, so that might even burn. Okay, so that's what they look like. I don't know. And then I'm just going to put a few walnuts on the top. Let me get my cutting board here. Not everybody likes, you know, walnuts on there. You don't have to. And for the glaze, there is a recipe for the glaze with powdered sugar, butter, or confectionery sugar, powdered sugar, butter, vanilla, But we have cream cheese icing in it from the cupcakes left over. So I was just gonna maybe kind of heat that up a little bit and just kind of spoon it on there, or let it kind of just drizzle that. Because it's already ready made, it's quicker. So I just want little chunks. I don't want like big chunks of walnuts. And you can use any kind of nut you want if you like nuts. Pecans or... Okay, so I got my walnuts chopped up. I'm gonna put some right there, kind of in the middle, and the bigger ones here. Put them in there. I'm not gonna put them on all of them because I don't know who likes them and who don't. So we're just gonna put them on a few. Hopefully they'll open up like they're supposed to. So I don't know, this might be a fail, guys. I'm not sure. And if this works, then win, 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 win. So, okay, I'm gonna put it in the oven. And I wanna say it was for 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, like I said, my oven's already been preheating. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the oven. When they're done, whether it failed or didn't fail, I'll show you how it turned out, okay? All right, so just give me a few minutes, let this stuff bake. I'm gonna go cook the other dinner, and I'll be right with you. Yeah, okay, so I think it might be a success. This is how they turned out. We're gonna have, Mommy Shirley is gonna test one. And I did not do the homemade frosting, I just did the can. So, and I did put some walnuts on it, Mom. So, which one do you want? Which one looks good to you? This one? This one? Okay, we're gonna give this one. I don't know, they're not as soft as like the buns you get at the cinnamon buns in the store, so it might be a little bit more done. All right, we're gonna let you taste that, and you got your butter, and you need more frosting. Yeah. And there's, there's some nuts on there. So with the extra dough, since it was a double batch, I made little rolls that are in the oven and the little pans of bread. I'm hoping that's gonna come out. So hopefully, I mean, they smell like cinnamon rolls. They tasted like cinnamon rolls, but they're not as soft like a cinnamon roll. You know, like the ones you get at the store where they kind of like pull apart, but it's got that flavor, don't it, Mom? Mm-hmm. Are you gonna taste one? Yeah. She's gonna taste and see how. I know the dog, she'll like anything, but like I said, they might be just a little overdone, maybe a little harder, I don't know. So, are they good? Okay, she gave it a thumbs up, so maybe they're not the kind like the professional, you know, where they pull apart. I might have should have put more butter, I don't know. But they don't look pretty, but long as it's got the flavor. So hopefully I'm gonna wait for the rolls and the bread, see how that turns out. So we'll have to see how that turns out. So I'll be back with you when they get out of the oven. Okay, folks, I'm back. The cinnamon rolls were a success, so that was good. Then, instead of making more cinnamon rolls, I did 2 pans of bread. The little loaves of bread look really good. And I did rolls. And they're the kind that like where the outside is real crusty, but the inside is real fluffy. So it seems like, now the cinnamon rolls, maybe if I tweaked it just a little bit more, they taste like cinnamon rolls. They weren't as soft as, but the taste was, everybody said the taste was there. So, but hopefully you won't be afraid to try. It's my first time. Make some bread, make some rolls. Don't have to worry about going to the store and it running out. And the recipe, as you saw, was real easy. And so like and subscribe. I hope you like this little cooking session that we had. Exhausted. And I'm going to wrap all this up to keep it fresh. And I'll see you in the next video.